Okay, welcome everybody. And it's good to see you tonight for our Women in American History seminar preview. This is very exciting. And we have Georgette Hackman with us tonight, who's our program director. She's here with us every time we do a preview. But Georgette's going to be our program director for this one. And really, doing a lot of hands-on stuff throughout this. And tonight, the purpose is to go over a little bit of what is, you're going to find here during the seminar. What do we do here at Freedoms Foundation and all that kind of stuff. And again, if you have questions, please place them in the chat and we'd be happy to go over those and everything. But I have a kind of a slideshow to bring up, kind of a guiding thing that Georgette and I could talk about and play off of. But again, we thank you for joining us tonight and taking the time. We'll go for about 30 minutes. It's just a quick snapshot of what the week's going to be about, and then see if you have any questions and so forth. But I need to share my screen. Okay. All right. And so there's the slideshow I want to show you. All right. So here we are, everybody. And women in American history, and have several great examples of women up here on the screen. We're not going to do a random test to see if everybody knows who these people are, which would be kind of interesting. But I do want to point out one of my personal faves right here in Carrie Nation. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and get started tonight. There's your two hosts with the most. I'm Jeff Scott. I'm the Vice President of Education at Freedoms Foundation, Valley Forge. And there's Georgette Hackman, our Graduate Program Director and Teacher Extraordinaire. So we appreciate you guys being with us and all that kind of stuff. All right. So Georgette, you have any opening remarks?
No, Jeff, it's just that I'm really excited to be here and working with you this summer, and particularly for this Women in American History program, because it's one of the first of its kind at Freedoms Foundation. And we've been doing such interesting work to get things started. So I'm excited to share.
Thanks, Georgette. And yes, it is. We haven't done one particularly like this. And here at Freedoms Foundation, we do student programs on campus through our Spirit of America programs. And then we also have history encounters with someone are geared to elementary students. And during the summer, we have our teacher seminars, workshops, and we're doing a new teacher institute this year. And they're all constitutionally focused. And that's what we are. We're a civic engagement organization. We want to promote civic education in our country, so you can have that foundation to have strong discussions in your classroom, and to build an environment where your students can use historical events to discuss the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all that kind of stuff. We are nonpartisan, and we like to provide you a variety of opinions and thoughts and let you grow from there. Okay, so as you see here, we have the Women in American History. It's going to be July 23rd through 28th. This coming summer, and it's going to be dynamic. It's basically a 6-day seminar. In essence, you come in on a Sunday and we go through Friday midday. So Sundays are typically, and I'll kind of go over that in a minute, but they're kind of like the orientation stuff. We have amazing scholars, and we're going to introduce you to some of those here in a few minutes. We'll also be going on a site exploration. And one thing we like doing at Freedoms Foundation is going off campus and taking you somewhere kind of connected to the theme for the week. We also have amazing content that your scholars are going to share. We also have activation sessions, which Georgette will be leading some of those. I will lead a couple of them. We'll have other people lead them. It's a time for you to explore the topics that day, and also create things for your classroom, or look at what you can use in your classroom. Another thing is an amazing networking. Believe me, you come to Freedoms Foundation, you're going to meet teachers from all over the country. And some people have stayed friends forever. And you never know where one connection is going to lead, and then you can have somebody you can share ideas with, and such, and so much more. Many things we're going to be doing during the weekend. It's so exciting. And so, where is Freedom's Foundation? Maybe you're joining us for the first time and you're thinking, hey, I'm interested in doing a teacher seminar or workshop this summer. Well, there's not a better place than Freedom's Foundation at Valley Forge. We're in Pennsylvania in the Keystone State, and we're right next to Valley Forge National Park. And obviously, Valley Forge in Americana lore is very important. It's where the winter encampment happened in 77, 78. And our troops kind of got whipped into shape and was able to overcome a harsh winter at Valley Forge. And then, of course, we go on to win the American Revolution. But there's our campus, right? There's a beautiful campus. There's not a better place to spend a week during the summer. We have over 70 acres, many of it dedicated to the Medal of Honor Grove, where we have placards out there for Medal of Honor recipients. It's a great place to go walk, reflect, jog. You stay on campus in a dormitory style housing. And so the cursor's right here. These are dorms right there. And so you'll typically have your own room. And it's very Spartan, but hey, they're great springy beds and you'll sleep well. But over here in this building where I have the cursor, it's called the MacArthur Building. Oops, let me go back there. MacArthur Building. And it's got 3 levels. One level has rooms, the middle level has kind of classrooms, and the lower level is kind of where we eat. So you do most of the stuff here on campus. And we have one of the largest flags in the United States flying right here, which is very special. When you come up in this road right here on campus and you see that flag, you get goosebumps. Here at Freedom's Foundation, we want you to leave knowing you said, this is worth our time. We had great content, and I feel better about the direction of our country. And that's what we want you to have here at Freedom's Foundation. Georgette and I are here because we believe in this place. We believe in what we do, and we believe in our country. Okay, so these are kind of learning outcomes. We're not going to go over these. We'll go over these more and when you get on campus and everything. But certainly it's content driven. We want you to come here for a learning experience. Yes, we want people to have fun and we want you to enjoy your time, but we also want you to increase what you do, increase your knowledge level so you can take that back to your schools and your school districts and become even stronger. Okay. All right. So Georgette, it looks like we have some exciting things on tap here. And basically what we do, our topic is women in American history. But each day, and this goes for all our seminars, is that we kind of have a subtopic for the day. Sundays are dedicated to our orientation and the Medal of Honor Spotlight. So we'll kind of introduce you to the campus, kind of what the week's going to be like. We hopefully, with the weather cooperating, we'll take a walk in our Medal of Honor Grove. And like I said, highlight a Medal of Honor recipient for the week that kind of in some way goes along with our topic. This is an easy one during this week. Dr. Mary Walker will be our Medal of Honor Spotlight recipient. Dr. Walker is the only female at this time to receive a Medal of Honor. And there's various reasons for that, which we'll cover, but it's going to be wonderful. Monday, we got Women of the Founding. It's going to be a great day talking about the colonial lives of women at that time, how they made a difference, many times behind the scenes, but really a big difference in many of the events that took place during colonial times. Tuesday, we're very excited. We got Women in the White House. We're going to be discussing various women of the White House, not just first ladies, but many women, people that work there, people that live there, people that helped make the White House what it was, but maybe you've never heard of. And then Wednesday, we're going to go to the Museum of the American Revolution and explore historic Philadelphia. And again, we're going to be focused on elements of women's history related to that time. We'll look at, of course, we'll be going to the National Constitution Center, correct, Georgette?
That's correct, Jeff. There's a 19th Amendment exhibit there that is so well done, relatively new. I think it just opened in the past year or so, and goes so well with our topic, particularly looking at that early 20th century women's history. So that's going to be a really great opportunity for us to look at and explore.
Absolutely. And so just so many things. And I think, Georgette and I were talking about, during the time we're going to go to Philadelphia and hit some of the houses or look at some of the homes that women lived in there that you may have heard of, like Dolly Payne Madison, but at the time Dolly Payne, and so forth. And then Thursday, we've got Women of Action. This is setting up to be an unbelievable day. We'll talk about a little bit who we have coming in. We're talking about women that's just been a force, particularly in the 20th century. And then Friday, we're going to have a great speaker. Somebody come and talk with us about leading in the community. Someone that's reached the highest levels, whether it's in the community or beyond the community. So amazing topics for the week. So who's going to be there? Georgette, Dr. Boudreau. Won't you tell us a little bit about him?
Absolutely. So Dr. George Boudreau is a professor of early American history, and he's done a ton of work in and around Philadelphia. He's currently associated with University of Pennsylvania, and he's had fellowships at Mount Vernon. He has conducted NEH summer teacher seminars of his own based on Benjamin Franklin in and around Philadelphia. So not only is he a scholar of this topic and of this information, but he's also used to dealing with teachers and working with teachers. And he's aware of what teachers want and are looking for, taking scholarship and academic scholarship and bringing it back into their classrooms. He is also a co-editor, I believe would be his title, on a new book called The Women in Washington's World. And it's a series of essays about different women who lived in the time of Washington, worked in and around Washington, some of them obvious, some of them not so obvious, but it's a fascinating book. And when we read it, we realized that he would be such a great speaker for that first day.
Thank you very much. And yes, I'm just really excited to have Dr. Boudreau there and to get to know him better. And I believe, and we talk about some of these topics that people go over. Again, I always remember that some of this is subject to change a little bit depending on, kind of how they shape, our speakers shape their discussion points. But we believe Dr. Boudreau will be going over Martha Washington Valley Forge. And again, that's very appropriate since we're just down the road from there. And if you take our optional tour that we do of Valley Forge, which I enjoy leading very much so, that will go to George Washington's headquarters. All right, next we have this. I tell you, this lady is just a special lady, Cheryl Ann Amendola. And again, Georgette, you know her very well. She's going to be working with us all day, but also she's going to do a session and focus on one of her specialties is focusing on life of colonial women. She's a teacher. She's accomplished a great deal in the classroom and beyond. And Georgette, what do you know about Cheryl Ann?
I know that Cheryl Ann is a force of nature. I've worked with her through Gilder Lehrman and some of the things that she's presented online. We have a lot of the same friends. And one of the things that she focuses on, which I think is fascinating, is history through the lens of food and how recipes and methods of cooking and things like that can teach us a lot about history. So she does some really interesting things using food, and who doesn't like that? So I'm so looking forward to seeing how she approaches our topic of colonial women and life of colonial women, but I'm relatively certain that in some way, shape, or form, it will include something about food. So her take is so interesting and so refreshing, and her enthusiasm is contagious. So I can't wait to work with her and bring her to our seminar and share what she knows with our participants.
Excellent. And I'll tell you, that's just special to me is somebody can really relate history in terms of food. As a person that's known as an eater, that's fabulous to me. Okay, so we're looking forward to having her there with us. And she's a very nice person as well and is passionate about what she does.
Definitely.
Okay, this is also Georgette, I believe, a good friend of yours, Stephanie Townrow. And this is going to be interesting because this takes us into the Women in the White House Day. And here we're going to be touching on somebody that most people do not know about, but was in her own way a force of nature, Harriet Lane, which she was the niece of a certain president. Georgette, share a little bit about that.
That's right. Harriet Lane was the niece of the Bachelor president, James Buchanan, and basically functioned as his first lady during his time in the White House. And one of the reasons that we chose to profile Harriet Lane was, again, that obscure connection that we were talking about. There are some topics in women's history that their names come up frequently and people that we hear about a lot. And then there are other names that are a little bit more obscure. And one of the things about Harriet Lane, as a lot of people, I don't know, may be aware, James Buchanan is Pennsylvania's only president. So the only president that Pennsylvania can claim. And so there's a local connection. James Buchanan lived and worked in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is about 60 miles from Freedom's Foundation from Valley Forge. And so we thought it would be really interesting to talk about someone who spent time in the White House that isn't quite as well known, but accomplished some amazing things. And Stephanie Townrow was with Lancaster History. She was their director of education, and now she is a doctoral candidate at the University of Delaware. So being able to bring her in, one of her areas of scholarship that she's focused on is Harriet Lane. So she knows so much about Harriet Lane and is passionate about telling other people about Harriet Lane. So I can't wait to see what she has to share with us.
And as anybody knows me, that anybody that could really help James Buchanan in the White House, I have a lot of respect for. So I'm anxious to hear more also about Harriet Lane. All right. And that takes us to Sarah Fling, who will be with us in the afternoon. Sarah is with the White House Historical Association. And so she's going to be coming up, and she's going to be discussing a variety of women in the White House. She'll look at enslaved women that was present in the White House. She'll look at first ladies of the White House, kind of what was life like for various women living in the White House at different times. And I believe she's going to focus on maybe with that element, the later half of the 1800s, but I'm not exactly sure. It's going to be dynamic either way. If anybody has dealt with the White House Association, they do an unbelievable job. Their resources are outstanding, which I'm certainly she'll share the resources of the White House Historical Association. The photographs, a lot of times they bring out and show are things you never see. So I'm very excited about, hey, Georgia, have you had any dealings with the White House Historical Association?
I have not, Jeff. I was set to do their Teacher Institute, and then COVID happened, and
Yeah.
then I haven't had a chance to get back there. But
Yeah.
everyone I know that has had interactions has had nothing but good things to say. And so I'm really excited to partner with them and, combine forces and work with them to get the word out to teachers that all of these great places exist. And their goal
Absolutely.
is to help teachers and to make a difference in classrooms. So anything we can do to spread the
Absolutely.
word is a good thing.
And we'll actually have one of their master teachers with us this summer. Amy Caldera is one of their master teachers for this summer. And she'll also be with us during the New Teacher Institute.
Yes.
All right. Next, this is going to be a great day. Now, Wednesday, what happens is we go into Philadelphia. We'll go into the Museum of the American Revolution, which is obviously in Philadelphia. We'll be spending the day there. And then Thursday, it's going to be a really interesting day. We're going to start off with May Krieger, who's an original Rosie the Riveter. Okay? An original Rosie the Riveter. She's real. And so we want, let me go back there. So, oops, I'm just flying through here. So May, she is passionate about bringing what the Rosies did during World War II and showing how important their role was, and also promoting the roles of women throughout this time. And just think about it. May has been working on women's issues since before World War II, during the 1950s, during the 1960s, during the 1970s, during the 1980s, during the 1990s, the 2000s, the 10s, and now the 2020s. I mean, how many people are around that say they've done this? Not many. Okay, so to have an opportunity, and she is a divine person, to have the opportunity to get to meet someone like this, to hear their story, is an opportunity that just doesn't come around much. And so please, we'd love for you to be there and listen to her and meet her. It's going to be something you remember for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. She's a
And
treasure.
Georgia, you met May. You met May last year.
I did. I got to meet her and talk with her and to hear her share her story and hear it in person is like coming face to face with history. And so she is so lovely and so giving of her time and just really enjoys being with the teachers, telling her story, taking photographs, and she is just a ray of light. And so getting to see her, talk with her, and spend time with her is just wonderful. So to be able to share that with our teachers is just a great gift. And we're so excited to bring her back to Freedom's Foundation.
Absolutely. And then later that day, we're going to have Gregory S. Cook with us. And Mr. Cook is a filmmaker and historian. And one of his documentary was Invisible Warriors, African American Women in World War II. And why he's passionate about this is because one of those women was his mother. And so he has this just wealth of knowledge to bring to the table to highlight African American women that did a number of roles during World War II that sometimes you never hear about. And so this is going to be a great perspective of looking at, say, the various Rosies and people of that generation and how maybe they were treated differently or how their stories wasn't told for a certain reason. But it's going to be a powerful time. And we're very much looking forward to this. And Mr. Cook just is passionate about bringing this story to the table. Right, Georgette?
Absolutely. And we were like, as we were brainstorming ways to tell these stories, because one of the things that Jeff and I talked about frequently as we put this program together is the topic of women's history is so vast and so wide. And how do we choose the stories to tell. And we wanted to be sure that we did it with purpose and with diversity, and to be able to tell a variety of stories from a variety of viewpoints. So when we looked at this day and realized that we could actually bring May with us, who was a Rosie the Riveter, but then kind of expand on this concept of who really was Rosie. And, did every Rosie look like that poster, that poster that's all so familiar in everyone's minds? And Mr. Cook is going to help us kind of expand on that idea. And so that's exactly what Jeff and I wanted to do, was take a look at some of the well-known stories, but then layer in some of those topics and viewpoints and perspectives that don't always get told. So we thought that this was a really great opportunity.
Absolutely. And we're just looking forward to this day so much. Not only for those two reasons, but also this right here. Michaela Procopio, and I doubt I said her last name correctly, but she's going to be with us from the U.S. Army Women's Museum. She's also working on her PhD at this time. And she's going to be sharing artifacts and much more that the Army Museums has for women. The uniforms, the stories. Certainly, she was excited about us talking about Dr. Mary Walker, the sole female recipient of the Medal of Honor. So she's excited about bringing the story of various women that served to you. And so you can get an idea of what the museum does. It's about 2.5 hours away from Freedom's Foundations in Virginia. And so, but they've also got resources that you'll find usable and all kinds of stuff. So we're very much looking forward to them. It's their first trip up to Freedom's Foundation. And so we're excited to have them with us. And also, we want to point out that one of the things that we focus on at Freedom's Foundation, obviously building, focus on our Constitution, our founding documents. But how do those founding documents impact our life today and beyond? It's just not about thinking about the past. It's thinking about learning from the past, living in the present, and making our future better. And one of the groups that we're partnering with is Unify America. Unify America is going to be with us at the end of each of our seminars, just for a little bit, talking about what they do, and also into lead in as a kind of an extension of this week that you'll be with us. As you see there, Unify America was created in January 2020 to reduce contempt, teach Americans to work together, and build a diverse community to find ambitious solutions and solve our problems together. They love having people of diverse views have discussions, really think about why we're doing something, how we can have commonalities. And I've had many conversations with them. And one of the things they've always found, they said, when we come across people and we talk with people, we find that most people actually have more in common than they disagree on. And that's usually from a wide extremes. And so Unify America is going to be there to talk about that, but they're also going to have an extension that we come back together in the fall and talk about how we kind of implemented some of these things, the conversations that you probably had with different people that you come in contact with. So we're looking forward to having them with us. It's a very good group of people. And again, another organization that wants to see our country be stronger together. Okay. What a week, Georgette. This is a powerful week.
I am so excited. And I'm not just saying that because it's our program, but I think it's got the power to be such a great transformational type of program. And I'm so looking forward to welcoming people on the campus and seeing it come to life after all the planning and all the talking. So I'm hoping that we have lots of people who want to come and be a part of it with us.
Questions? Does anybody have any questions out there? Has anybody put any questions in the chat, Georgette?
Jeff, we don't have any questions in the chat, but I'll go ahead and ask one. Are applications still being accepted? And how can teachers go about getting in on one of our seminars this summer?
Well, that's a great question, Georgette. In essence, yes, we have rolling acceptances here at Freedom's Foundation. We'll be putting out that we're still accepting applications. As we certainly have spots available in all our programs, with the exception of the traveling program right now. But if you're still interested in joining, go to our website, freedomsfoundation.org/teachers, and you can apply for these programs. We've streamlined the application, so it does not take you long to do. And there's not a lot of writing to it, but we want to see why you want to come to that program. And we want you at the programs. We have scholarships available, which our scholarships cover everything once you're there. Once you get there and you're going to be staying on campus, the excursions, the food on campus, which is excellent. We want you there. And we believe what we do is as good as anybody. And we're going to make Freedom's Foundation the destination for teacher and student civic development. All right. Well, that's it for tonight. And we appreciate it. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. And we hope to see you at Freedom's Foundation. And always reach out to us and continue to do your part to make this country stronger each and every day. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.